Hi everyone, welcome to Climate Confessions podcast, and today I will be your host. My name is Dorothy Gazompomare, and I am here with Jacqueline Samala. She is a social work student at the University of Malawi, but actually she's pending graduation. She is also an alumni for the Young Women Group of Negotiators on Climate Change. Welcome, Jackie.
Thank you so much.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about the National Youth Summit. Now, days leading to the National Youth Summit, during the National Youth Summit, after the National Youth Summit, there have been questions on social media and all around. People are asking, what's the National Youth Summit? So, Jackie, maybe you can tell us because you are one of the participants at the National Youth Summit. Can you please tell us a little bit more about what it is and exactly what happens?
Okay. So a National Youth Summit is all about bringing people together, especially young people, policymakers, government officials, people from the private sector to come together and talk about issues affecting the youth and how they can move forward. So yeah, that's that about National Youth Summit. But it is also a space where people get to network, meet people who have the same goals as them to um discuss on issues affecting them and how they can work together to develop the country. And it is also a space where people get recognized for the remarkable work that they're already doing out there. So, shout out to NICOM for the National Youth Summit because, bringing together more than 1,000 people, that's such a big thing, guys. That's such a big thing. So, shout out to NICOM for that.
And you did say something that reminded me of something about how it's also a space where people can actually network and meet other people that are like-minded. That also reminds me of last year's National Youth Summit. Do you remember that was the first time that we met?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
And
it
I
was.
got to meet a lot of amazing people who share the same goals as the goals I have, and we have actually worked on a number of things together. So it's a
Yeah,
very good networking space.
that's really amazing. And also, do you remember the picture that we took together on stage?
I do. Yeah, you got recognized because you won an award. You see, it's a
Oh,
space
wow.
whereby people get recognized for the remarkable work that they're doing. And she was one of those people last year. She got recognized for the remarkable work she's been doing in the climate space. So yeah, it's actually a very good space.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for
You're
that,
welcome.
Jackie. And it was actually really amazing that you were there on the stage to share this moment with me.
Thank
That's
you.
amazing.
Thank you.
And speaking of last year's National Youth Summit and this year's National Youth Summit, can you please tell us like the difference? Was there any difference between last year's and this year's?
If I'm to be honest, the difference that was there is very personal, not necessarily about the organization and everything, because last year it was my first time going there. So I went there with the mindset of, I'm going to a youth summit. I want to see what happens at a youth summit, how people engage with each other, what happens and everything. So I had so much excitement and I didn't have a lot of goals when I was going there. I was just like, I'm going to a youth summit. I'm so excited. I'm going to meet people and everything. But this time around, I went there with a lot of expectations. I had a lot of things I was looking forward to, and everything was about me and how I was engaging with people, observing what was happening around me and everything. So the difference isn't necessarily about the organization, but about my personal growth. And yeah,
All right, I think that's really important because sometimes we get so lost in the moment and so
yeah,
lost in what we're doing that we forget about ourselves and what we're trying to achieve there, what we're trying to learn. So it's
yeah,
really great that you actually were aware enough to know that, you know what, this moment is for me as well, to be able to learn as well as to contribute to whatever happened at the National Summit. But there is actually one difference that you forgot.
uh,
And that difference is the fact that you went viral. Jackie, you went viral. So there is a viral clip going around on social media of Jackie on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, and she said something that's like very significant, especially to other young people. I think it's something that really resonates with a lot of young people with what you said. And some of the things that you said were about how they're coming and telling you challenges that you already know, that young people already know, and that that's not exactly what you want. You don't want people to come and tell you about the challenges that we already know, that we're already aware of, that we have already heard on news. And there's something else that you said that was significant. And you said, we want you to come here and basically create a space, create opportunities for young people to be able to give you recommendations and solutions because, well, clearly you all need some help, right? I mean, forgive me if I'm wrong. So I just really want to know, and maybe before we get to that moment, maybe we can just like look back at the clip that happened.
To tell us challenges that we already know. We watch news all the time. We know that there is Chidozi Busowa and we need to create the jobs ourselves. These are the things we hear all the time. The ministers, the MPs have meetings in the parliament all the time. And you come on the news saying the ministers had a meeting today, they spoke about this, the Minister of Agriculture is providing, this is providing. But like, we need to come here. Us.
Thank you very much. That's a good question. Thank you very much.
A minute,
the interest of time.
A minute.
Yes.
Just a minute.
I'll give you 1 minute
Exactly.
to wind up, please. Thank you.
I think, yes. So, from my personal understanding, I think this should be about us having so much time to talk to you, not you talking to us. We need to tell you our problems. We need to tell you the policies that are working and the policies that are not working. We
you.
need to tell you what we think the best solutions are.
Thank you.
Right. So I just want to know exactly what was going through your head in that moment. What were you thinking exactly? What really transpired for you to actually say the things that you said?
Oh, okay. So as I have already said, when I was going there, I had a lot of expectations. And one of the expectations was to go there and see a lot of young people speaking up, sharing ideas, sharing their challenges and everything. So from my observation, I saw that the youth were not given enough space to do that. So I took that as an opportunity to like bring the issue up when they said it's now time for questions because there were ministers in front talking about different issues, talking about agriculture, mining, tourism, and everything. And there were also some other people, young people, talking about the things that they're doing in these industries, the mining industry, agriculture sector, and tourism sector. So after their discussion, they said it's now time for questions. So after reflecting, because that was the second day of the summit, but then the only person I saw in front speaking, a young person speaking, was Luana. Shout out to Luana. The hijabis are here to take over. The hijabis are here to take over.
Absolutely.
You better be ready for us. So that was the only young person I saw speaking in front. So I was like, you know what? What exactly is it that we are doing here? That's when I raised the concern. But when I was raising it, I didn't think I was going to go viral. And I didn't have any intention of criticizing the effort of the organizing committee and everything, no. And that didn't come from anger. It was just an observation I made. So um, I was expecting people to speak up, but none of that happened. So I was like, you know what? I think we need to talk about this. We have been here for 2 days, but none of us is talking. It's like you people are coming here to tell us the things that we already know. And mind you, I'm not dismissing the fact that that was important. That was actually very important, them talking about the things, but like we needed to speak up and say, okay, these are the challenges we are facing because everyone knows we are facing those challenges. Each and every youth knows that there are these problems, there are their realities. So I was expecting us to go there and say, you know what, these are the challenges we are facing. And last year at the National Youth Summit, you proposed these ideas for us to do. And we've been doing that, but then we're still facing these challenges. And we think you might help us with this, you might help us with that, and share ideas on how we can move forward. But none of that happened. So I was like, you know what? I think we should bring this up. But at the same time, it's not like not looking at the fact that each and every person has their responsibility for their development, for their growth. We all have the responsibility, and each and every person is supposed to have ownership of their responsibilities, decisions towards their developmental goals and everything. But then, for a person to develop, that doesn't happen in isolation. It's a whole system. It's a system that works together. I can give you an example of a person who wants to get into entrepreneurship. They might start a business today. They might want to be getting things from outside their country. But then we are having issues of forex. How is this person going to get the things from the outside country to here? They're going to have a challenge. So they might be progressing bangono bangono, but at the same time, there are going to be things that are out of their control. Meaning to say it's a whole system that is supposed to support this person. That's why I brought that issue up. And me saying the statement that we already know the issues wasn't necessarily saying this Ayankule is easy. No, it was about okay, yes, these are the challenges, but how can we move forward? We are trying to be innovative, but we are still facing these challenges. We are getting into entrepreneurship, but we're still facing these challenges. We are trying to come up with Zagudu, but we're still facing this, and we think you can help us with this, you can help us with that. So, yeah, that's where that came from.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much for that. I mean, at least now you had the opportunity to fully explain yourself without being cut and without being given a time limit. So I'm really glad that we had this opportunity to speak about that. And you've talked about so many important things about how we are facing a systematic problem. We need systems, we need processes and institutions, and everything needs to work together in order for us to move forward. And it seems like there's a gap in the systems that we have. And that's why we keep going back to square zero. Yeah. So for me, I just have a question, right? I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. There's this talk about tokenism, about how, oh, let's invite young people, let's hear what they have to say. So if the government was to invite, let's say, for example, you mentioned that there were over 1,000 people, and let's say maybe 1,000 young people, and then was to listen to them for a period of 2 to 3 days, and then nothing changes. Do you think that that is meaningful youth participation? And if not, or if it is, maybe you can just explain a little bit more about what meaningful youth participation means to you and what it looks like.
Oh, thank you. If we look at the levels of participation, we have, if not 6 or 7 levels. The first one is about non-participation that involves manipulation and therapy, making it look like you involve people, you bring people to talk about their issues, but you make it look like it's them who are not doing things. The same way why Dana Jinyamada and be telling them, you know what, you guys are not thinking outside the box. You're waiting for people to come here and create jobs for you. You are waiting for people to do so for you instead of you being innovative and everything. That is therapy. A type of participation, but in a therapy way, making look like these people are the problems. Yet you're forgetting that there is a whole system, a system that is supposed to be supporting these people for them to like develop. Yeah. And then we come to the second stage that talks about consultation and the like, right? So I would still call that participation if the government was to call 500 people and talk about things, but nothing changes. I would still call that participation because the people were actually involved. They were being asked questions and everything. But then, for it to be meaningful participation, I would need their voices to be heard and influence the decision out of everything that will come from there. The things that they will say, they should be considered and they should influence the decisions and those who are going to be affected by the decision being made. That's what I would say is an effective participation, a meaningful participation, because that will make the youth understand that, oh, our voice matters. We can actually influence something. We can have control over the issues that are affecting us instead of just people coming here to like tell us what we need to do without hearing from what we have to say about the things they are saying we should do. Because it's not like people are not being innovative out there. No, it's not like people are not being entrepreneurs out there. No, if you go out there around 6 a.m., you see young people, a lot of young people actually going to town to try to find something to do. And if we look at it, population ya Malawi, the majority